that year, the seminary wants us to have experience out in the field, and so your vestry and Catherine graciously agreed to let me come and be among you for a few Sundays each month, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. As I reflected on today's readings, I was struck by a couple of things. One is that this reading about the mustard seed is not the one we hear the most often. Often what we hear is when the mustard seed is compared to the kingdom of God, a lesson that comes earlier in Luke. Here, the mustard seed is being compared to faith. So I thought we might begin there. And I have a great helper. Is he come up and help me? And I might need you too. Would you come up first? So I brought some mustard seeds with me today because it's important to take a look at this and experience it a little more deeply. What do you guys see there? A little speck. It's really tiny, isn't it? Yeah. What's inside there? Seed. Yeah. Any thoughts? Oh, you science understand? Yeah. Can I get you to do me a favor? Can I put this, a little bit of this on your hand, and you take it around and show people? Can I put a little bit of this on your hand, and maybe you go to the other side and show people? Okay. Thanks, guys. You ever speak this way? So what do we notice? We notice tiny. We notice almost beneath notice. I hope you hear, as you see this, and you hear my words today, the magic of this small seed. The wonder of something that is so very small and insignificant, and yet so beautifully designed and full of creative potential. We live in a world that is quick to dismiss wonder, quick to move on and see looking at tiny seeds as a childish exercise. That seed on Ed's hand, that seed on Zeke's hand, it was not made by man. This seed was created by God. It will grow according to God's plan for it. It will be impacted by the forces of nature. It will be impacted by the forces and actions of men, but it will grow according to God's plan for it. It is inherently of God. In our readings today, the apostles are asking Jesus to create something in them. They say, increase our faith, build us up. And Jesus responds by saying, it's not really about how much. It's not about how big. It is about what kind. The right kind of faith can accomplish what that speckless seed can accomplish. It can grow. It can move. It can plant a tree in the sea. And the author of Luke goes on to offer a little bit extra about what faith like this looks like and where it comes from. It comes from, he says, servanthood. It looks like serving at a table without a tip or a fancy uniform or a chance to take a shower when you come in from the field. Faith is built from service, from a daily life of caring for and about God's good creation. Faith is deepened by showing up day by day and wrestling, deeply wrestling with the challenges of discipleship. I loved learning about your season of creation. I was even lucky enough to find a super cool stone in the driveway I got to add to your collection over here. But that season held some really tough lessons in it, didn't it? We heard some very tough teaching and conversation about injustice in our world. That teaching came with words of invitation and challenge. A little bit like serving at the table after a long day in the field. Yet this is where faith is built, Jesus says. Faith is something we hone in a life of discipleship, of caring for and about this creation. It is hard to witness injustice in our world. It is hard to speak about it and face it as a community. It is hard to understand how a God who designed such a beautiful world could design a seed this tiny that will grow into a plant that will replenish the oxygen in our atmosphere. It is hard to understand how that same God could allow for people to hurt each other and to hurt the earth. Yet for us to have the freedom to choose to love God means we have free will to choose to also hurt, to exploit, and to destroy. Hope is the needle in that haystack. And faith is what tells us that needle is there. Like the potential in this tiny seed, faith invites us to reach out a hand and place it on the heartbeat of the earth. Faith sustains us when we hurt. Faith informs us when we're unsure. Faith is where hope lives. Now, there's something else I noticed about this set of readings, and I hope you did too. In the letter to Timothy, we hear Paul's joy about Timothy's great faith. And we also said, he goes on to say, this is a faith that first lived in your grandmother, Lois, and your mother, Eunice. I love that he names them there. This is a faith of a different type he's calling forth. This is a faith not honed, but shared. Shared through stories and songs and teachings by mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts and good close friends. This is a kind of faith built through our baptismal covenant, when we say that we will proclaim by word and example the good news of God, seek and serve Christ in all persons, and respect the dignity of every human being. This is a faith that is precisely strong because it is shared by our community. It is a faith which says, I love you, so I'm going to equip you. I'm going to share with you the secret of the needle in the haystack. I'm going to teach you that when life seems chaotic, there is order. Look for it in love. Look for God at work. It looks like hope. It looks like love. It looks like people in service to each other and the world around them. It looks like the healing of old wounds, even though we didn't cause them. It looks like cleanups on the river, support for hungry people. It looks like prayers for prisoners in jail. It looks like a community sharing who they are and their gifts. Exactly like this congregation did a couple of weeks ago at a hymn sing I was lucky enough to attend, where your community shared gifts of music and song so that everyone who was there could go back out into the world ready to do the hard work of faith building, of justice demanding, of earth caring. So as I end here, I'm going to ask for a little bit of an altar call. How's that for an Episcopalian? Can we end with a commitment? Can we commit to each other this day to continue the work of welcoming wonder into our lives? Can we commit to finding the words to invite others to wonder with us? In this work, this gloriously sweaty work of a life of discipleship, of wrestling with the challenges so that our faith will be the transformation that the world so deeply needs.